Very warm welcome to today's Onepoint Oneness meditation session. For those of you that are here for the first time, my name is Matthew. Very warm welcome. And we've been running these sessions now for almost a year. And the reason we started them is that many of us at Onepoint Consulting have a regular daily meditation practice that we find extremely beneficial. And the idea came that it would be really nice to share insights into meditation and around positive thinking with a wider audience. And so Onepoint Oneness was born from that. And we've been very lucky over the last year to have some really experienced meditators guest speaking for the sessions, and today is no exception to that. And I'm delighted to welcome Avi Heeralal to today's session. Avi, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Matthew.
Just a little bit of an introduction to Avi. Avi's an audit partner at Smith Williamson, primarily working in the technology industry. He's passionate about leadership and culture at the workplace and has spent a lot of learning and applying the mindfulness principles he has learned. The key benefits Avi include developing strong positive habits, being able to positively and calmly deal with difficult situations, and helping others with their mental well-being. Raja Yoga meditation and its teachings are the foundation of his personal experience. And today, Avi, you're going to be sharing with us on the topic of well-being at work, which is a very topical topic. I'm sure everybody is interested to hear about. So looking forward to the session. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Matthew. And thanks for the introduction too. I guess everybody has their own definition of well-being. For me, it's being in a state of consciousness of who you actually are, being full of virtues, full of power, full of positive energy. That is well-being. That is what I think about when I talk about well-being. Essentially, being in a state of consciousness means to be conscious, to be present, to be fully aware, and to pay attention. Now, it may sound counterintuitive, or it may sound making a lot of effort to be constantly present or to be constantly aware. But the challenge we have right now is that we're always we've got the habit of doing things unconsciously. We've created these habits. We just do things sometimes without thinking. A lot of the times we react without taking a step back and thinking, and we're impacted by the environment around us. And that is contributing negatively to our own personal well-being. And so the talk that I'm going to share with you today is around well-being, with the focus at well-being at the workplace. Now, before I start, I'm just going to tell you a story about my own personal experience, my own daily experience and how it used to be. Sometimes when I don't pay attention, I do fall back into the trap, but I try to break away from it. But here goes. So I've just woken up. The first thing I do is I pick up my phone, open the internet browser, look for the new news key headlines that that's happening in the world today. The things that's coming out are COVID. It's infection rates are reducing in some parts of the world. Infection rates are increasing. The number of deaths constantly increase. Other key headlines include, racism, climate change issues, and so on and so forth. Naturally, having looked at these key headlines, it's just a few headlines that I've looked at, but it's a lot of information that's gone into my head. It's impacting me, and so I'm feeling a little bit agitated. What do I do next? I don't know why. I just open up my emails. Could be a habit. I'm unconscious at this point because I'm not consciously thinking of what I'm doing. I'm just doing. And when I look at my emails, I see new emails, things that I need to be doing during the day. I look at my calendar. I see, how back to back I am, and so on and so forth. And so I'm feeling a little bit more agitated, a little bit more frustrated. I put down my phone. Okay, I'm being polite. I probably dropped my phone on the side table, and then I go and freshen up and take a shower and so on and so forth. Now, before I come back to the story, let me talk to you about well-being at the workplace. Now, a lot of companies, a significant number of companies, are starting to take it seriously. It's no longer this intangible thing that nobody speaks about at the workplace. It's not a taboo anymore. Everybody is aware that mental well-being, physical well-being is impacting each and every one of us. And it's one of the most important topics for each and every one of us at present. And so a lot of companies have implemented lots of change. They've introduced well-being booklets, they've trained their staff, they've also partnered with professional companies that actually implement well-being policies and procedures at a very good depth within a company. And so everybody in a workplace has these tools that's going to help them have a much better standard of life. And these tools, to be honest, are very, very important. But the reality is, when you take a step back, well-being starts with you. You can have as many tools as possible, but if you don't focus on your own personal well-being, and if you don't take the time out for yourself, none of that's going to matter that much. Give you an example. For those of you who work, you probably spend 7 to 10 hours a day on average completing your work. For those of you who take care of households, you probably spend more than that taking care of the household, taking care of the family, and so on and so forth. For those of you who are students, you spend many, many hours studying, attending courses, and so on and so forth. And that is a lot of time that you're spending on other activities. Now, when you take a step back and think about what's important to you, I think we're all aware that the amount of time we spend for ourselves to actually think about the things that and the steps we need to take to improve our well-being, improve our standard of life, and so on and so forth. We hardly take that time out. And if we do take the time out, we run the risk of just generalizing things and not taking it seriously, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And so I think it's important for us to really reflect on our days and see the small changes we can make to improve our well-being, because everything you do will have an impact on your life and the rest of the day, as well as it will impact everybody around you and everything around you too. Okay, so now reflecting back on the story that I just mentioned, I have a lot of thoughts because I've read so many key headlines in the news. My mind is a bit clouded. My emotions are all over the place, and I'm not focused. It's really not a good feeling, to be honest. And a lot of us don't realize the impact of what our morning routine does to us for the rest of the day. And so if you take a step back, think about a different scenario. If I don't pick up my phone, instead, I wake up. What I do right now is I wake up in the morning. The earlier I wake up, the better, because there's absolutely no noise. It's very, very peaceful. And I take a few moments to really relax. I could do a variety of things. I could churn on a particular virtue. So if I really feel like I need to have a bit more peace, a bit more happiness, a bit more love, I'll focus on those virtues. If I need to churn about, how do I get a little bit more organized and how do I maintain my energy throughout the days, I'll churn about it in the morning. I'll think about it and reflect on, what can I actually do? I find it a really good time as well to send positive vibrations throughout the world. Everybody is suffering. And so if I can contribute positively to change the atmosphere by giving positive energy to the world, I believe that's a very powerful tool. I also use the time to connect to God. I mean, I believe in God, and so I am able to draw his energy, and that really fills me up with even more positivity. And because I take that time out in the morning, I fill myself with a stock of positive energy. Think about it as savings. So, for example, everybody works, everybody earns. Some people save money, some people don't. If you take actions to save a little bit of money every now and then, what will happen is when there's a time of need, you'll have a balance to use. Whereas it's the same principles here. If we take time out to really stock up on the positive energy, what you will find is when you're faced with a very difficult scenario or situation, you will be able to draw on the power that you've accumulated and tackle that situation to the best that you can. Whereas if you don't have that power, you'll constantly find yourself reacting. And that is never, ever going to be a nice feeling. The other thing I see at my workplace a lot is, I'll tell you another story, is I was sitting on my desk and one of the partners next to me just said, I'm really, really busy. And the rest of the staff sitting around him had this sort of domino effect, because the person sitting next to him said, I'm also busy. And the person next to him said, I'm busy as well. I'm feeling stressed. So he changed from words from busy to stressed to unhappy. And guess what? We had an atmosphere of busyness, unhappiness, and it's not really good. What makes it worse is, I bet you, when those guys go home and they speak to the people around them, they're going to say, hey, I'm busy. And the response will be, I'm also busy. I'm also feeling tired, and so on and so forth. And what's happening is the words that you choose to say is impacting not only your being, what you're feeling, but it's impacting the atmosphere as well as impacting everybody around you. And so if you consciously make sure that you are using your words wisely and economically and positively, you have the ability to change it. I mean, you could do it right now. If you say, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling ecstatic, the feeling that you have and the power that you're accumulating in your mind and your body is amazing. And if you do that, you're able to then have that stock, but also pass that energy, to whoever is around you. And it's amazing. I mean, think about it like this. Let's say now that it's lockdown, we're all sitting a lot more. Well, for those of us that are working on laptops and stuff like that, if I just stood up and I stretched, I'm going to feel really, really good. It's the same thing. If I have positive words, it's going to be like something that really refreshes me. And so that's one of the ways of really making an impact on well-being at the workplace. But it starts with yourself. Now, when you start the day and you accumulate lots of power, you're going to find that you're going to think more clearly. You're going to react better. An example here is, let's say there's a person that's quite close to you, whether it's a work colleague, it could be your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your partner, whoever it is that's quite close to you. And if they come to you really upset, what tends to happen is that if they're shouting or they're crying, and if I'm not conscious about, and if I haven't, accumulated this positive energy, I may react to their emotions. And so if they're shouting, I then shout. If they're upset, I get upset. And I'm actually making the situation much worse. Now, at the Raj Yoga meditation center that I attend, I've been taught about this beautiful phrase called loving and detached. Now, here's a person I really love and I really care about. He's come to me upset. If I'm able to take a step back and not let their emotions impact me, so I'm not going to share their anger, but I'm going to give out positive energy, then what will happen is that positive energy that I'm giving out is 100% going to rub onto them, and they're going to start feeling positive as well. And so if I don't do that, I wouldn't be able to help this person, somebody I really care about. And so by being conscious of being loving yet detached, I'm genuinely able to help that person. It could be, as I said, it could be a work colleague, and so on and so forth. And so if we're able to consciously make effort towards really monitoring ourselves and making conscious decisions on how we can be the best of ourselves, then it will make a profound impact on everybody's life, and my life in particular. Now, going back to the story that I was just talking about, I attend. So I've had a very, very busy morning, right? In that I read the news, a bit flustered, a bit rushed. I go to work, which nowadays is just in the next room, switch on my laptop, look at my calendar. I've got loads of things to do. But then I'm interrupted with a phone call. I'm interrupted by having to speak to different individuals. I've got the stuff that I need to do, and so on and so forth. When I eventually get a break, I'm feeling stressed. I'm genuinely have so many thoughts. And the 15, 20 minutes that I take out all it's going to do is really just help me slow down a little bit, but it's not having that massive impact that I need to really get back on track. And so you can see how my morning has impacted my entire afternoon. And that is going to have a knock-on impact on your evening and the rest of the day. And what makes it worse is if I don't take any action, that is going to be the same thing that happens the next day and the next day, and so on and so forth. And that becomes my life. And so what I need to do is take a step back. Now, there are a few things that come to mind when you're looking at making a change. It's okay to be busy at work, but what's not okay, or what is a choice, is you don't have to be busy and out of control. You can be busy and you can be productively busy. Now, whether or not you work, you could use the same principles in your personal lives as well. Now, these are the few things which I try to implement on a daily basis. Now, sometimes I don't get it right, but you know what? Because I'm consciously self-assessing, I'm more likely to make a change at some point in time than not make a change at all. So the first thing I do is I check and change. Now, I don't do it at a superficial level. So, for example, let's say I got angry with somebody yesterday, and I say to myself, "Oh man, I shouldn't have got angry," and then ended off there. That is not really checking. When I'm talking about checking, I'm talking about really reflecting on it. What was the root cause that caused you to react in a certain way? It could be that your reaction had nothing to do with that individual. It could be because of something else. And so if you cannot find the root cause, you'll never find the solution. And by checking and reflecting, you are then able to take action to change. The second thing, which I stressed on a little bit earlier, was accumulating that power. That is absolutely important. As I said, you spend so many hours in the day doing other things. You need to spend time for yourself to accumulate your power. I guess because it's intangible, people can't see it. It's hard to measure. People don't really do it. But I think we all know deep down inside, if I take the time out for myself at various points in time that really works well for me, I accumulate within myself a power. And when when a situation comes in front of me, because I've accumulated that power, I then act differently. And when you act differently, it then has a positive impact towards the other person, and they start to act more positively, and they start to see the change, and they will start to also do the same thing. And so accumulating this power is really, really strong. But what you need to keep in mind is it's good to accumulate a store of positive power, but if you're keeping on using it constantly, then it's similar to the bank analogy, whereby if you keep on using your savings, you're going to end up with nothing. You need to accumulate, but you also need to change to ensure that you've created positive habits, positive attitude within yourself, such that everything you do constantly accumulates, and then you're able to spread it further. The third thing that the Raj Yoga Meditation Center that I attend to does is introducing traffic controls. Now, this is really amazing because traffic controls is essentially taking time out, maybe every hour, every couple of hours, just take a minute to refocus and ground yourself. Step away from the noise. And you will find if you do that throughout the day, by the time it comes to the evening, you're still very, very energized, and your quality of sleep is going to be positive. It's going to be really, really good, and it's going to have the same positive impacts going forward. Other things would be, having good habits in the workplace. I'm talking about priorities, process, knowing when to put a point, a full stop, and being very clear and concise. Now, there's a good video by an emergency doctor, Daria Long, and she talks about this, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail for that because that's a whole other topic. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just have a quick meditation commentary. It's going to be a few minutes. So let me share my screen, and hope you guys enjoy. I focus on my breathing and feel myself relax. I let my thoughts slow down and choose the one thought of peace. I am a being of light. I am a being of peace. Going within, I come to the awareness that I am radiating light and peace. This physical body of mine is an amazing chariot, an instrument that gives me access to all that I need in relations, communication, and it allows me to share my feelings, my thoughts, and all that I need to do to connect with others. Staying deep, I connect with the store of peace within me. I let my thoughts slow down, and I choose the one thought of peace. I am a being of peace. I picture myself surrounded by light, It is a light of peace, a light of purity, a light of truth, and this is my protection. Wherever I go, I carry this protection with myself. I extend that protection to all those I love, so that they too are surrounded by this light of love and purity. But it reaches out even further and extends across the entire world to all forms of life and nature itself. And everybody and everything experiences the safety and protection. I let my thoughts slow down, and I am an embodiment of peace. Thank you all. I hope you found that useful.
Great. Thanks so much, Avi. That was such an amazing talk and a lovely meditation there. It was really, really lovely hearing you share so honestly about the before and after routines as well. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, including myself, and the danger of that mobile phone in the morning and access to all that information before I've taken time out to look after my own well-being. And also your sharings about, just very, very practical, very real about the office experience, but also how to start to change that, to take that time out, and as you said, invest in the self and build up those savings of spiritual power that can really help me stay positive in the day. So thanks so much. Such an informative and practical session. And we look forward to seeing everyone else again at the same time next week, 9 o'clock next Friday. We're joined by Alicia Montero, who's going to be covering the topic, I Can Change My World, the Power of the Mind. So we'll look forward to that one as well. And just to say, in the YouTube chat there, you'll see links to the Oneness page where you can watch previous sessions and find out about upcoming sessions. And we also love to hear your feedback, maybe suggestions about future topics you have in mind. And please do share these resources with your colleagues, friends, and family, because everyone can benefit from meditation and positive thinking techniques and methods at this time. So thank you to everyone for joining us. Once again, big thank you to Avi, and we'll see you all again soon.